Hello. Today I want to do a little bit different of a video. I've asked the community probably about 100 different questions. As you can see here, if I just put it on auto scroll, I've asked a good amount. Y'all have responded a good amount. So I'd like to go over some of the most interesting results out of all these. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. First off, what is your preferred method of defense in Minecraft against hostile mobs? Looks like the most common is using powerful gear, which I feel like is pretty obvious. Most players like having diamond armor, netherite armor, enchants, all that good stuff. I was kind of surprised that taming mobs was so low. It seems like a lot of people like having like dogs and pets, but it ended up being lowest on the poll. That was kind of surprising to me. What Minecraft minigame do y'all enjoy playing the most? Looks like out of these four, everyone says skyblock. Again, this was kind of surprising. I thought Spleef would have been like number 1 or number 2, just because it's one of the OG minigames, but turns out it's literally the least voted. I almost expected parkour to be higher, just because that's so hot in the algorithms like TikTok and all that. You see parkour videos like everywhere. Another interesting one, what kind of Minecraft update would you like to see next? Looks like everyone wants more exploration zones, or just more loot to find in the world. Which, if I was going to vote on this, I would vote for the same thing. I think it's really fun to stumble across new areas, get some new loot. The other stuff I feel like is already pretty fleshed out. I would like to see more villager mechanics. Kind of surprised I got the least amount, but when you compare it to everything else, like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Having more ways to fight mobs would be pretty interesting. This one was kind of surprising too. What kind of Minecraft biome has the best scenic views for you? And everyone voted the end. Normally I don't really consider the end to be like scenic in nature. It's kind of like monotone, but yeah, I mean, everyone thought it was cool. Acacia, second up. The other fun one, what's your favorite way to interact with Minecraft villagers? Looks like number 1's obviously trading, because that's the main mechanic villagers have. But number 2 is people just build walls and reinforce the village, which I think makes sense as a number 2. If you have a bunch of villagers that you're trading emeralds with, you kind of want to protect them from the nighttime. Otherwise, zombies just come and get them all. Which Minecraft in-game event do you find most exciting? This I thought Ender Dragon fight was gonna be number 1, considering that's like the end of the game. But it looks like Nether Fortresses people like the most. Getting the blaze rods, trading with piglin villagers, stuff like that. Favorite building material in Minecraft? This was kind of surprising for me as well. I thought stone would be number 1. You know, people like strong, sturdy structures, but it looks like wood beat out number 1. I'm guessing because when you chop a log down, you get 4 wood planks, so you can get tons of resources for building very quickly with wood. That's what I would assume. It's also like the first resource you gather in game, so I guess it makes sense to beat out. But almost 80%, that's kind of that kind of surprised me. Here's a quick but pretty obvious poll: which biome is the most challenging to survive in? Obviously, everyone voted the end by almost 80%. Like, not much to say there. That makes sense, yeah. What is your favorite redstone contraption? Looks like everyone mostly voted for farming machines at around 50%. Doors at a close second. Surprised me because I thought mob traps would be second, but yeah, I do see a lot of bases with fancy doors, locking systems, things like that. Makes sense keeping all the mobs out, or just having something fancy. Favorite combat strategy in Minecraft? This one also kind of surprised me. Like, get lots of surprises in the polls. I guess y'all are a lot harder to predict than originally expected. I thought traps and range would probably be one of the top ones. But I guess melee is just so staple to the game. You know, you get your diamond sword, like you can clear pretty much everything. So another little quirky poll: what's your favorite non-hostile mob in Minecraft? There's probably 10 or 20 different mobs, but you can only fit 4 into the poll. Out of these 4, it looks like people picked Dolphin, with Parrot as a close second. Definitely makes sense, as bats probably aren't really seen that much, same with squids, but dolphins actually give speed buffs when you go in the water, so I feel like that makes plenty of sense that Dolphin's number 1. Parrots you can equip on your shoulder too, so close second. Makes sense, almost like a pet. Another quick one: which fruit do you prefer in Minecraft? Looks like everyone said apples. Expected as well, because apple's one of the OG items in Minecraft. Way back in like the early updates. Makes sense that it's the number 1. Melon as the second. That kind of caught me off guard though. It seems like not a lot of people like melons because of the 0 saturation. It takes forever to fill your hunger bar. Favorite type of villager profession? Looks like overwhelmingly voted librarian, which makes sense. Librarians are the ones that give enchanted books. So when you're trying to max out your gear in the late game, this is the villager you need. Makes sense that it's the number one. Favorite potion effect in Minecraft. Again, another, I feel like, fairly obvious pull. Fire resistance is massive for farming in the nether, and that's what lets you beat the game. So obviously the most useful would be fire resistance. Second place, strength. Everybody loves to be strong. I like that's natural, yeah. Which rare Minecraft mob do you find most exciting to encounter? I was kind of surprised with this one. Slime, almost nearly 80%, overwhelming. I expected Enderman to be higher because teleporting is just so strong in Minecraft. These make sense. I definitely figured Phantom would be the least voted. Nobody really likes seeing those. Which ore is most fun to find? Obviously diamonds, yeah, not much to say about that one. It's your go-to armor material. This one I thought was kind of interesting. We got like a 70-30 split between diamond and iron. A bigger split than I expected, but thinking about it, iron is pretty much like the gateway to the late game diamond and all that. So you'll see a lot of iron sets, but you don't really see much leather or gold. Those are harder to collect than iron usually. Favorite stone, looks like a general 60-40 split between cobblestone and deep slate. I feel like that's another obvious pull. Everybody loves the classic cobblestone. Which farm do you find most useful? This was interesting to me as well. I figured the iron farm or village farm would be top 1 or 2, but it looks like mob farm beat out by a while. Looking back on it, it does make sense. Mob farms are some of the most classic farms people have ever made, and they give a variety of mob drops from pretty much every mob. Villager farm, I think, would have been higher if people knew how to make these easier. They're kind of esoteric in nature, so I guess it does make sense that it's the least voted. I think these are some of the most useful, though, these villager farms. Which rare item do you find most rewarding to obtain? I was kind of surprised by this one. I thought dragon egg would be number 1, just because that's the signifying item that you beat the game, beat the dragon, all that. But it looks like it's Totem of Undying. I guess that makes sense. If you think of like hardcore worlds or players in the late game, if they have elytra and all this good stuff, they don't want to die and lose all that. And so this item kind of protects all the other rare items. Heart of the Sea, all the way to 0. I guess it makes sense. Nobody really builds conduits or underwater bases, especially in the late game. So I think that makes sense that it's least voted. This one was kind of cool. Favorite flower. Most popular vote Wither Rose, which is the only flower that damages people. And I think it spreads wither corruption too, so that being number 1 was kind of surprising. I thought Lily of the Valley would get more votes just because of the Breaking Bad memes, things like that, but least voted, interesting. Favorite type of Minecraft base people like building. I think this is another common set, like it makes sense. Most bases are above ground, so you see a 60%, underground 30%. Floating island was kind of higher than I expected. I think these are my favorite types of bases because you control spawn points quite a bit. But at 10%, that was kind of surprising. Underwater, I think that can be referenced to the conduit Heart of the Sea earlier. Most people just don't build underwater because of the time it takes. Which passive mob type is your favorite? Looks like overwhelmingly cows. I would assume that this is because cows drop leather, which are for books, eventually for bookcases and enchanting, all that good stuff. So I think this makes sense. Number 2 is sheep, make beds, all that. Banners. This poll makes a lot of sense to me, I think. Another fun poll, what's your favorite game mode? Seems like survival overwhelmingly played. Almost 90%, one of the highest ratios on a poll yet. Seems like the classic experience is to just go spawn in a world and survive. 4% creative, that kind of surprised me too. I thought creative would have been a lot higher, like a 70-30 split or something, but no, it's just 4%. Wow. Favorite Minecraft boss. This one, I thought Wither would be number 2, but actually Warden made number 2. I'm assuming because it's just one of the newer bosses. Ender Dragon number 1. I feel like that makes sense. In-game boss. Yep. Favorite pet. Wolf number 1 makes sense. It can attack things that the player attacks. Cat number 2. It can scare away creepers. Another kind of obvious pull. Favorite tool in Minecraft. I kind of like the results of this one. 80% on pickaxe. That's like a big skew of numbers. Would have thought like a 60-40 or even like a 50-30 type, but nah, 80% on pickaxe. Definitely puts the mine in Minecraft. Which natural structure do you like finding the most? Desert pyramids, ocean monuments? Does kind of make sense. I thought Jungle Temple would be a lot higher since it has like the traps and pretty good loot, but no, that's at almost 7%. Stronghold, obviously you need it to beat the game. Desert Pyramid, I think has the best loot out of all these, so it's natural that it's number one, I think. Preferred mining method in Minecraft. Cave exploration looks like it beat out everything else. I would have thought branch mining would have been a lot higher, but with the new update, they reworked the depth level, and so I think cave exploration's a lot faster than branch mining, just because there's so many exposed blocks. Which transportation method do you prefer? Elytra has number one, almost 80%. Like, that's pretty obvious. Flying is much stronger than sailing or just riding a horse. Favorite enchantment, I thought this one was kind of interesting. Fortune with number one, as that yields more diamonds. That's kind of expected. Number two is mending, though, with the implication of it being fishing. This definitely makes sense to me because fishing is a great way to get enchanted books and just some of the best items in game. Which mob do you find the most adorable? Looks like panda and cat tied. Turtle getting no love, and then axolotl at the top. As predicted, I thought axolotl would be number one. Makes sense. I'm surprised the panda didn't get a little higher though. And here we are with the last poll we're covering for this episode. It's which Minecraft version do you prefer playing? I would have expected Java to be like an 80-20 split, but Bedrock actually beat out the Java edition, meaning most people prefer the little Xbox Bedrock edition to the OG PC version of Java. This definitely caught me off guard. I thought there was a lot more Java users, but thinking about Minecraft's accessibility over the years, I think it does make sense that more of the younger generation is growing up on Bedrock instead of the classical Java experience. And yeah, let me know what y'all thought. I find these questions very interesting, and y'all's responses to it even more interesting. So feel free to ask me some questions. I'll put them in the polls, see how the community reacts, all that good stuff. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.